Here. What's up, chat? Happy Sunday. How you doing? You guys getting ready for some NASCAR, maybe? Some background noise talking about basketball tonight? I got you. I got you, man. Slow Sunday. But we got this. Had a game postponed. Toronto Raptors game. Out of there. But it should be a fun slate. Lots of high minute projections going on today. I'm here for it. What's up, Edward? Lincoln, Crispy. Chat kind of dead today, huh? All right. Before we get started, let's look at yesterday's slate real quick. Kind of see if we saw any outliers performances. Who did well, who did bad. Joel Embiid, we talked about his history without Tobias Harris, was a slew of 50 plus, 60 plus, and yesterday he went 74 and a quarter DKP, 42 real points, 40 minutes, 13 boards. Maybe not the game script we had in mind as the 76ers lose at home to the Cavs. They were deep favorites in that one, but Embiid, the beast of the night, and the center position was pretty tough decision pre-flop. It's Embiid, it's Jokic, it's Karl-Anthony Towns against the Wizards, but Embiid, he was up there, and I had him ranked number one. I actually had Jokic third, though. I thought Cat was number two. Westbrook with a 60. Julius Randle with a 57. Let's kind of go in order of some games here. Mavericks beat the Brooklyn Nets. We knew we were going to be without Kyrie Irving, and then as we got closer to tip-off, we learned that Tyler Johnson was questionable with the headache. He ended up not playing, and James Harden just couldn't carry this conglomerate of who's that to a competitive basketball game. Bruce Brown, the second highest scoring net in 32 minutes at 27 and a quarter. James Harden just 33 minutes and under 50 fantasy points. So as one of the highest owned players on the slate, ended up underwhelming. Andre Roberson, 20 minutes of him, 20 plus fantasy points, 6 and 8. We know historically Roberson more of a defensive guy, but he did take 8 shots and a couple of threes. So that's something to watch out for. Joe Harris, I thought he would have to be the guy that picks up a ton of slack scoring wise in the absence of Kyrie, KD, guys like that, and he didn't do it. 9 real points, and then past that, it's just a really shuffled deck of cards of ugliness. So a lot of people had some Tyler Johnson pre-flop. I know I did. So that was one of those NBA DFS curveballs that shook things up. On the Pacers game, we knew Brogdon was downgraded to questionable midday. That's usually closer to out. He ended up not playing. TJ McConnell draws to start, plays 46 minutes, 17, 6, and 12 his stat line. One of the best plays on the slate. Loved him no matter what, but the extra minutes there with Brogdon out was good for him. We know he's a facilitator, pass first kind of guy. Miles Turner ended up being a better FanDuel play. 4 blocks and a steal. I was hoping he would get me an over of 13.5 real points. He didn't get it. Almost 14 shot attempts, 1 for 8 from downtown. Not a lot of centers taking 8 3-point shots in a game, but Turner did that. So I don't feel like I was wrong process-wise on Miles Turner. He was literally a bucket away from me hitting a player prop that I pinned on him. So I think the research was right. The execution just didn't happen on the player end. On the Knicks side, Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, nice little 1-2 punch. Derrick Rose, 38 minutes. It's been a while since he's done that one. And Julius Randle, 42 minutes. RJ Barrett, 34 minutes. Those were my 3 highest owned Knicks. I did have some Nerlens Noel. He played 41 minutes last night. Didn't do much in lieu of fantasy points. Only took 4 shot attempts, but something to keep note of. Also, we saw Taj Gibson play 4 minutes. So Taj Gibson's been somebody that we've seen in some of the closing rotations for the Knicks. He didn't play, or he didn't barely played last night, and it looks like he's out tonight. So we might put deep minutes on Noel again. The Nuggets and the Thunder. Isaiah Roby led the Thunder, right? Al Horford's back. Of course, Isaiah Roby's the leading fantasy point accruer for the Thunder, 38 and a quarter. On the Nuggets side, Jokic dropped 60. Will Barton and MPJ both exceeded 30 fantasy points. Jamal Murray was kind of the bust there. Keeping it moving, Utah at Orlando. Utah without Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson. Like, those are the obvious plays pre-flop. They all kind of got there. Donovan Mitchell is an underwhelming 46 at that price point. Same with Gobert, but you would take them. Ingles and Clarkson were the two guys I had the most of, and I was more than happy with what they did. Clarkson, I believe Clarkson's point line was at 18.5. And it he finished at 18. So way to go, Vegas. Anything else here? We talked about the Cavs game. Washington beats Minnesota, but everyone gets there. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal combined for 110 plus. Garrison Matthews almost goes for 10x. Davis Bertans with a 30 bomb. And then on the T-Wolf side, Cat dropped 50, but in the grand scheme of things, when Jokic and Embiid are on the slate, it didn't mean much. And then Anthony Edwards was somebody I had a hankering for, 21 real points. I got my over prop on him without Malik Beasley. I figured he would be 1 or 2 in shot attempts. He ended up being first in shot attempts, 32 minutes played. And then Jared Vanderbilt ended up being a trendier value play on both sites. He was like 30% on DK. Fine play, just 23 minutes though, but he still was extremely efficient in those minutes for fantasy, and a super soft matchup against the Washington Wizards. And then finally, the Pelicans and the Spurs. Zion almost dropped 50. Double-double, 23 and 14. Brandon Ingram with a 40. Eric Bledsoe at 39. And then Lonzo was the low man of the bunch. 3 for 12 from downtown. 17 shot attempts. Unfortunate for him. Dejounte Murray with 45. He had over 50 on FanDuel, I believe, because of the 4 stocks. And then DeMar DeRozan, 30-plus real points, 11 assists. It was, I believe, the first game since his father passed away, so he paid quite the tribute with a 54.75 DKP game. And even Aldridge off the bench on FanDuel had 30, which was super ironic because he was questionable all day, and he's and of course he goes out there and he becomes a solid play. But that was it. That was your slate yesterday. Today should be another somewhat tame, easy to read pre-flop, understand the ranges of outcomes, post-flop slate to navigate. So we'll do that on this stream. What up, Jeff? What up, Marv, Ski, James Fenner? Yep, Josh Clemente. You played the baseball on FanDuel? No. I'm not going to play day one spring training, but I did watch. I was watching the Yankee game before we went live. They started pulling everybody right before I focused on the stream. I believe Brantley and Mike Tauchman went back to back to put up 3 runs real quick, and Luke Voigt was on the headset, and he tells Tauchman good crap, the uncensored version, and that goes full live over the airwaves, and he goes, oops. You can't say that. But yeah, I am keeping an eye on it. But it's still early to play spring training. A lot of these pitchers in this first couple days are just going to go like 1 inning, and I'm not going to play that. Come on. Come on. There's like no research to be done on that, too. All you know is who's playing, and you're just throwing names at a lineup. Told you Washington would blow out. So I didn't think it would be impossible for Washington to blow out the T-Wolves, but the fact was not the fact, but it didn't matter for fantasy because even in a blowout, everyone that we would have played got there. Everyone was fine. But yeah, Washington's on a heck of a tear. I think they're 7-1 in their last 8. Looking good. That's good though. I like Bradley Beal. I like Westbrook. What's up, Sean? What's up, Andres Van Dam? What's up, dude? I played Talkman. You played this slate. You played Talkman. Oh my goodness. I guess he is fighting for an outfield spot. The Yankees outfield's getting kind of cluttered. Judge, Hicks, Clint Frazier, your starters. Brett Gardner's the number 4. Stanton's your DH. I don't think they want him out there. I guess Tauchman's kind of fighting for a spot. I'd probably lean Tyler Wade just to have that Swiss Army knife guy that he could put in a corner, hide him, but he could play the infield as well. But I like Tauchman. I don't think Tauchman has any more options, though. So if they don't use him, they'll just have to DFA him and hope for the best. And I still think like Tauchman is big league potential. Just where does he fit in on that one? Dallas Mavs blew out the Nets. Relax, Damian. Relax. They didn't have Tyler Johnson, bro. They banned me on. Whoa. You got banned on. Awesome. What you do, dog? Don't get banned. What? Oh man. Yikes. EB, what's up, boys? How we doing? You guys playing NASCAR? You guys do anything special other than NBA today? Key news to watch today: Jaylen Brown questionable, Jimmy Butler questionable, Gordon Hayward doubtful, LeBron James probable, Drew Holiday, I believe that game is now likely to play, Trae Young probable, Bam Adebayo probable, Tyler Hero questionable, and Cody Zeller questionable. The real news here for fantasy is Hayward and Zeller are doubtful, and we already know Devontae Graham is out, so the Hornets can have an extremely short bench. It might just be 8 or 9 active, and we could put some big minutes on the Charlotte Hornets against the league worst defense, Sacramento Kings. So that should be a trendy, chalky source of value and just the way we want to fill our lineups out by overloading on the Hornets, and I got no pushback on that one. I think that's likely the tier 1 ways I'm going to go today. The Wolves coach not very smart. He let them get blown out going to the 4th. He never even put Vanderbilt back in. Made no sense. So if you like, the Wolves coach is 3 games in. I don't think he's. I think they're in a weird spot where he's not necessarily playing to win. He's playing to maybe evaluate talent and toy with rotations. But that the T-Wolves have really put themselves in quite the pickle from an organization standpoint. You could guess, like, even if you have like a fully healthy D. Russ, Anthony Edwards, Cat, I just don't think they have the right the right puzzle pieces, right? They need like a minute-eating, defensive-minded guy like Robert Covington, who I believe they had. I just think they're in shambles. I think they're gonna have to have a big shake-up, and it might be a while for rebuilding, right? How you get banned from a YouTube chat? Hey, we've probably piped off 20, 30 YouTube accounts in this chat in the last month or so, but yeah. But for the most part, we let y'all live. But I'm sure there was reasons, right? I'm sure there was reasons. All right, we not here to dog on Osmo though. I like Osmo. Bunch of cool cats. What are we doing? Do we jump into games here? I feel like I'm forgetting something on the intro, but I guess there's no Raj. So it's just going to be me. We're going to dive head first. F it, dude. Game number 1, Washington Wizards at the Boston Celtics. Wizards on night 2 of a back-to-back. Project starting 5 for the Wizards. Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, and Mo Wagner taking on Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice, Tristan Thompson. We got 232.5 total, 6.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown is the guy to watch here news-wise because if he's out, it obviously increases usage for both Kemba and Tatum. And without Marcus Smart, It's given us even more of a high floor in terms of minutes projected. He is questionable today with a pause for dramatic left knee soreness. He was able to play 37 minutes on Friday over the Pacers, but he may not be available for this one. If he's not able to play, that would open up more opportunities on the wing for Aaron Nesmith, but not enough to make him a play. So if Brown is out, we can go to that on-off court tool, which is really unnecessary in this scenario because it's the Washington Wizards. We already know we could pick on them, but just for mathematical justification, let's go take Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown off. Let's go put Kemba and Tatum on. And Kemba's had a couple strong games for fantasy in his recent stretch, including that last game. That'll give us a 32% usage rate on both Kemba and Tatum. Just an hour of sample size, not a whole lot to write home about. But the assist rate's about 20% each, so they become a really, really solid handcuff. If we elongate on that to last season, maybe we get some broader minutes, 99 minutes, but still nearly an average of 30% usage rates for each player over fantasy point per minute. So I don't really think you need that to tell you that, hey, these guys could be good plays against the Washington Wizards. Even if Brown was in, I think the pace and the defensive efficiency of the Wizards creates the opportunity and the viability of playing all these Celtics. But obviously at these price points, 6, 8, 8, 7, 9, 1, if they're all in, there's a higher median range of outcome for them to all just kind of like average at their price plays. So I would love to see Brown out to kind of upgrade my confidence in a Kemba or Tatum. But matchup-wise, you can't really pick a Celtic here and get a lot of pushback from me because the matchup is just that strong. Wizards are going to be one of the fastest-paced teams and one of the worst defenses as a combo. Westbrook has been playing back-to-backs. Looks like he's going to play this one. Bradley Beal, 9-6 for him. We've seen Westbrook just be consistent as a cucumber as of late. A lot of 50-pluses. So around the 10K price point, 50-plus is what you need to start with for tournaments. But 60, 52, 52, 63, 61. He's just kind of in a groove. And in his last 7 games, he's given you 50-plus. And 8 of his last 9 is giving you 50-plus. So not a lot of reason to pull away from him interest-wise. You might be a little trepidatious because of the back-to-back. But it is what it is. He put him in the pool and chip and share him for 50. 50 might not be enough at the end of the day. We have several other point guards in elite spots. But early on, if we writing down with pencil, no reason not to suggest Westbrook is in the mix here. Same with Bradley Beal. The rest of the Wizards, like last night, I know Garrison Matthews and Davis Bertans were super solid plays, but I think the average game from them isn't high upside. I think the Wizards supplementary guys can just be like a spin the wheel, make a deal, volatile output. So I probably don't get to any of these guys today. I think I'm going to lean elsewhere and maybe go extremely balanced lineups. But if you guys thought that Rui Hachimura could cash in on 35 minutes and put up a solid stat line, I wouldn't talk you off that cliff. It's just probably somewhere I'm not at. What do you guys got on this one before we move on to the next one? What's up, Dan? Can't believe that Brooklyn game blew out. Let's get it today. Yeah, it was tough. It's not shocking though, right? No Kyrie, no KD. They don't have many like big league players. They just have a whole bunch of third string role players. The Nets and Harden. We've seen Harden sign some stuff and make a chicken salad, right? But last night just couldn't get it done. Healthy Porzingis, healthy Luka. What are we gonna do? What's up, Tall? Toronto game, COVID against. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I feel like there's been a couple of Toronto games impacted so far. And plus, they had the coach situation, so it's kind of weird that they went forward with that game without like 5 coaches and didn't shut that game down, and now they're down. It's like I feel like we got to an apex where we could have predicted, but that's not my decision. Robert Williams game, right? I don't mind Robert Williams, but I don't think we're getting an amazing price point. Like 5,300, 4,700 He definitely has 30 fantasy point potential. We've seen it in his last game. But I just think at this price point, you kind of need that, and that's what the price is asking him to give. So if you wanted to take some shots on him, maybe he goes above and beyond that 30-point ceiling, go for it. But, yeah, I'm probably away. Westbrook and Beal on the same lineup. I think it's very positively correlated. And as we saw last night, they have the propensity to put up 100+. I'll say this matchup is a little stronger defensively than the Minnesota Timberwolves. So maybe last night isn't a super common range outcome here, but it's definitely a correlated play. And there's plenty of implied points here. And I definitely think the Celtics defense takes a step backwards, at least on the guard wing side of things without Marcus Smart in the mix. So no pushback here. Did you get a pack yesterday? Yeah, I got a pack yesterday. Obviously, we don't know what it is for another 2 weeks. But, yeah, I got a pack yesterday. I'm waiting for tomorrow. I can cash out my Cool Cats collection and get that AD card. And then I'm going to liquidate and start the next, next challenge. I don't know. Not a lot of value. Not yet. Anyway, if Jaylen Brown's out, I can get aboard the Kemba train. And the Jason Tatum, but more so Kemba. Oh, man, Tatum messed me up last time. Knicks at the Pistons. Knicks, night 2 of a back-to-back. Pistons still limping along. No Blake, no Killian Hayes, Okafor, DeLon Wright. Knicks project starting 5, Derrick Rose, Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel, taking on Dennis Smith Jr., Wayne Ellington, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee. We got a 2-11 total here for this Knicks and Pistons game. I want to pull up last night's popcorn machine and show you what the Knicks did minute-wise. It was Tom Thibodeau at his finest, right? We saw Julius Randle play 41 and a half minutes. Like, I had to double check to see if there was overtime this morning. I was like, man, I don't remember there being overtime. Where are these minutes? 41 minutes for Nerlens Noel, 41 minutes for Julius Randle, and Derrick Rose at 38 minutes. Thibodeau had these boys running laps. So night 2 of a back-to-back. I don't think it's crazy to see Julius Randle play those type of minutes. I think Noel's still young enough. But Derrick Rose has me worried if he's going to play those type of minutes. We haven't really seen him pull off this type of responsibility, and we definitely haven't seen it on a back-to-back. So it's fun to push this revenge narrative. Pistons just traded Rose, but man, oh man, am I worried about him maybe the team being cautious with him here on a back-to-back. We do know Taj Gibson is out and Mitchell Robinson is out. And Taj Gibson last night, I believe we said he played 4 minutes. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. So with no Mitchell Robinson, no Taj Gibson, I think we can put some deeper minutes on Nerlens Noel and Julius Randle. And I think Nerlens Noel is a really, really fun play at 5.351. I know he got 40 minutes last night and didn't do much with it. But I do like this Pistons matchup metrically. I don't think he takes a lot of shot attempts. I think he took like 4 shots last night. But it is a matchup that if you bake enough minutes, I can see a couple putbacks for him. And I also see a little bit of block potential. Pistons giving up 5.8 blocks per game, which I believe is top 10, top 5. Let me double check that using the team metrics chart in the RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheet. Yeah, it's right up there. 5.8 is basically 1/10 of a block behind the worst in the league. So Nerlens Noel might stun some people maybe for FanDuel as a power forward. He's a little bit more viable for those stocks to add up because that many minutes is definitely something I would take some gambles on. Dennis Smith Jr. probably a little bit more spicy-minded than Derrick Rose in terms of revenge narratives. Couldn't catch a break in New York. They obviously didn't think he was valuable enough to hold on to. Last game for Dennis Smith Jr., I believe we finally saw more than 18 minutes like the famous Dennis Smith Jr. chalk night, 26 and 27 minutes the last 2 games. Maybe he tries to prove a point here at under 5K. If you want to buy into that, sure. I definitely think per minute, historically, we've seen Dennis Smith Jr. have the ability to be a solid fantasy player. It's just this season under Casey, the minutes are inconsistent. But there's definitely some narrative to kind of bake in here. Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, spin the wheel, make a deal, and Mason Plumlee. I don't hate centers against the Knicks. Last night, Miles Turner took a ton of shots. They were all threes, but I think against the Knicks, Mason Plumlee could muscle his way forward. And we saw an elite hedge the other night. Remember, they still don't have Jahlil Okafor. Plumlee's backup is Isaiah Stewart, and on DraftKings, he's 3,400. If you're just looking for a back pocket punt play, Isaiah Stewart might fill a role here. And the other night, he was an extremely beautiful pivot to the chalky Bismack Biyombo. 18-plus minutes is probably what you're going to get from him, and we've seen him be a point per minute plus. Now, I will say the last 2 matchups, Sacramento and New Orleans Pelicans, those are 2 very, very bad defenses, and the Knicks are a top 3 defense, so maybe we walk backwards our expectations a little bit, but just kind of keeping them in the back of your mind here as a pencil punt in deep field tournaments to maybe glue some stuff together if you're looking for some value. And Josh Jackson's the other guy. You guys know how I feel about the Pistons, man. I think Sadiq Bey, Grant, Plumlee, Smith, Josh Jackson, like I said, Isaiah Stewart, all those guys are viable individually. But when you put it into practice, it's not a common range of outcomes for more than one of those guys to be impactful for tournaments. Metrically, it's going to be likely the slowest game on the slate and probably one of the lowest scoring games on the slate if you look at both teams' offensive rating. So I wouldn't overload my lineups with too much exposure to the game. I'd probably put a cap of maybe 2 players from each team and probably even just one. But I do think there's a couple guys we can carve out. I think Derrick Rose is the decision to make, right? Do you guys believe Derrick Rose is going to curtain call on a back-to-back after playing 38 minutes? Do you think Thibodeau is – I mean, it's Tom Thibodeau. That's what he does. Do you think Derrick Rose has it in him to go back-to-back 35-plus minutes? And if that is the case, then, yeah, under 6K for Derrick Rose is far too cheap. He was well on his way to a 50 fantasy point game last night. And at this price, we don't need 50. We can still settle on that 35. So if the minutes are still going to be strong, whether you think Frank Ntilikina or Alec Burks going to be in the mix, Emmanuel Quickley, I still think last night was a good indicator that Thibodeau is grooming this Knicks team for high-conditioned, high-minute starters because they're on pace to make the playoffs. See what you guys got in the live chat. Scott says, Noel can't get 25 fantasy points if his life depended on it. How does this price keep rising? I don't know, man. I don't mind it. Gun, just skip all these other games. Let's stack Hornets, Kings. I mean, that's the easy approach, right? I got to find a couple plays elsewhere. What up, Solid Picks? I'm on a very tall ledge. Talk me down from the Hornets, King game stack. I'm not going to talk you off of that because that's my favorite approach, but I got to imagine that's everyone's favorite approach, right? So I think you got to run a comb through these other games and try and walk away with a couple of individual plays to isolate your lineups from the rest of the field. Otherwise, we're all just running the same lineup, right? But Hornets Kings definitely seems like the most logical approach. So we find a couple of sleepers elsewhere to diversify us from the field, right? Noel could play 40 minutes and still end up under 25. He could. He didn't take no shots last night at all. The value in the shot game, yeah. Dragic over Rose. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the next game. Houston Rockets hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. Projects 35 for the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, DeAnthony Melton, Dylan Brooks, Kyle. The Andersons got tickets to the game? How'd they get tickets? Jonas Valanciunas taking on John Wall, Eric Gordon, Daniel House, Jayshawn Tate, and PJ Tucker. We got 223.5 total. 3.5-point spread in favor of the visiting Memphis Grizzlies. We got no Christian Wood, no Victor Oladipo, and no DeMarcus Cousins. They let him walk. So we have seen this season that in the scenario, Eric Gordon at 5.3 on FanDuel, 6K on DraftKings does pick up some slack here. And I think 30-plus fantasy points is a reasonable range of outcome. And then I think John Wall is the decision to make. Is he out of your price range on FanDuel at 8.8 and DK 8.3, knowing that he'll be driving the ship? And I think we've seen this scenario several times for the Rockets so far. And if one of those two, Wall or Gordon, aren't having a good game, the Rockets tend to end up on the wrong side of a seesaw. So let's take some players off the court. I guess we got to go to this season, huh? Let's just put Wall and Gordon on the court, and that should save us from having to do too much. And then off the court, Christian Wood, Boogie, Oladipo. There's going to be no overlap between. Well, I guess maybe there would be. All right, select. Cashed half my lineups, but lost money as usual. Looking for better days. What's up, Mark? The NBA is rough. It's difficult. 51 minutes of sample size of Gordon, Wall with no Boogie, no Christian Wood. 23 and a 31% usage rate for Gordon and Wall, respectively. Both about a fantasy point per minute. And John Wall's assist percentage goes to 37.5%. And just eye test on this starting lineup, John Wall might have his hand in 40+% of, maybe even 50-60% of this Rockets team's points, and it's sink or swim on him. So no reason for me to be off of Wall. I think on DraftKings, the 8,300, I'm a little bit more there. But again, Eric Gordon likely to lead this team in shots. If not one, he'll be number 2 behind John Wall. So both those guys for me. And then I think if you just bake minutes and opportunity, I think Daniel House at 4,500 on FanDuel feels like a stocking stuffer. I got him at 27 FanDuel points. A couple hundred more on DK, where that 27 is not as feel great, but I'll take it. Jay Sean Tate, another guy I'll bake for deeper minutes. And then David Owaba, I think on both sides, has a chip in a chair for 25 fantasy points. PJ Tucker had the strong game in his last outing. I think he had like 27 fantasy points. I'm good. Like, I don't need to play PJ Tucker. 4 for 8, 2 for 5 from deep, 7 boards, a couple peripherals to get him a 27. That's arguably that's easily his best game in his last 10. I'm not gonna chase that, but I guess you could make a case that as a center, a couple of stronger games will pop here and there. On the Memphis Grizzlies side, Jonas Valanciunas has had some really, really strong performances as of late. And the Houston Rockets, I think, will be trending as one of the better matchups in the league for big men. A completely undersized team. We saw Tucker being the 5 for the Rockets last season. It was just a give-me spot for opposing center. So if you want a chip in a chair for 40-plus fantasy points, J Val's done that in back-to-back games against the Los Angeles Clippers. I really think it's a strong spot for him to flirt with 40 here against the Rockets front court. No argument here. I don't have the warmer fuzzies overall on the rest of the Grizzlies. They tend to be a really, really diluted 30 or less minute team. But I guess John Morant in 100, 150 lineups, you're probably in the back end of my point guard pool, right? We're going to have LaMelo. We're going to have De'Aaron Fox. We talked about Westbrook, Kemba Walker potentially without Jaylen Brown. It's just hard to be in love and overly enamored by a guy like John Morant or anything like that. And then Colin Anderson, Dylan Brooks, chip and chair, point per minute, whatever. This is kind of an underwhelming game. So I probably end up with a rule here that I didn't really want more than 2 players from either team to hit a lineup. Like every now and then if a lineup had a John Morant and a J Val or a John Wall or Eric Gordon, something like that, I'd live with it. But I don't really want to see myself too exposed, right? How do you feel about Tatum over 23.5 fantasy points in the first half? I mean, that's definitely the matchup. I would feel a little bit better about that prop if Jaylen Brown gets rolled out. But I definitely think it's viable. Should come out strong against that Wizards defense, right? What's up, Anchor? Anchor, are you new? I don't know if I don't recognize your name lately. Welcome if you're new. If not, my bad. Winslow. Justice. If you play Justice, he'll keep your wins low. Yeah, sure. Justice Winslow pretty cheap. He's ramping his minutes up, so I got him at 25 minutes at that price point. Hey, get to a point per minute. We'll take it, right? What up, Mark? Sean, that's a revenge game for Tucker, team who drafted him. Yeah, Tucker, man, I hate playing him, but he will get the minutes, yeah. I mean, you guys hating on Nerlens Noel playing 40 minutes doing nothing. That's P.J. Tucker's career for fantasy. Joe Val or Holmes on FanDuel. I'm probably going to lean Holmes, but that's not a snap call. Like, I think you can get a couple of like we talked about stacking that Hornets and Sacramento game. A couple spots different. Maybe a couple of those lineups that full stack that game with Holmes, you can switch over to a J Val. You know, just to kind of diversify those lineups a little bit. We are Osmo regulars, but we're scanning. Is Osmo still doing NASCAR? Am I getting the benefit of some non-NASCAR players peeking in? I appreciate you guys for giving me a shot. Golden State Warriors at the Lakers. Project starting 5 for the Warriors. Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney up against Dennis Schroeder, KCP, LeBron James, Markieff Morris, and Marcus Gasol. I saw some conflicting starting lineups that had Markieff and Kyle Kuzma or Kyle Kuzma, so just kind of know that it could be Kuzma. We got 221 total, 3-point spread in favor of the Lakers. I think this is more of a small ball matchup anyway, so Kuzma probably benefits no matter what. Even if he didn't start, I think you need bigger minutes out of him. But I think this is a self-explanatory game. I think Steph Curry versus LeBron is the marquee matchup. Both these guys are in elite spots. High usage guards right now against the Lakers have just been feasting and beasting. Damian Lillard, 50-plus fantasy points. Mike Conley, 40-plus fantasy points in 27 minutes, mind you. Russell Westbrook with a 60. Kendrick Nunn with a 45. All those guys play deep minutes here. So I got 36 minutes on Steph Curry. 50-plus is what I need. It's very viable. LeBron James without Anthony Davis, you're going to have to go up there and get him at 11K. But if you think you're going to have enough value, mid-tier lineups like full stacking the Hornets and Kings, if you got room for LeBron, go for it. But I think both those guys are appropriately priced. Draymond Green is coming off just a ridiculous assist game. What do you have, like 17 assists? Something dumb. It was 19 assists against the Charlotte Hornets, 61 fantasy points, triple-doubled, and real points was his least column attributed to. So I guess there's definitely viability in him. I think he's signed to like a LeBron brand, but we've seen those two get a little chippy on the court historically. Oubre and Wiggins, I feel like they're priced out of high interest for me. Past LeBron James, I think Kuzma at 6K. He's got a chip in a chair for 30. I'm not going to push it. And I do like Montrezl Harrell in faster-paced spots. I did discuss the viability of Montrezl Harrell a game or two back, as I clicked the wrong name. A game or two back against was it the Wizards? I think it was Portland. No, it was the Wizards. The fast-paced matchups. I love Montrezl Harrell in fast-paced matchups. He's more of a run-and-gun guy that could take advantage of that, kind of like a Enes Kanter from a couple years back. And we know that the Golden State Warriors will run one of the fastest paces in all of the NBA. They have the second fastest pace. So I definitely don't mind putting some Montrezl Harrell in my back pocket. And I think he could be like an elite game theory pivot to one of those Rashawn Holmes or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind him at all either. And if this just gets into a score fest, maybe you look at Dennis Schroeder or even, I don't know. I don't think I get to Horton Tucker here, but maybe one of these ancillary guards opens up a spot for Tucker. But I'm just leaning LeBron, Montrezl Harrell, Schroeder, Curry. I still don't know if I want to get to any Draymond here. You guys going to get to nearly 8K Draymond? I don't think I do. I think I can say Draymond's had some really, really softer matchups, and in this one he'll likely, cross up with LeBron a little bit, maybe even getting a little bit more foul trouble. But Charlotte was such a give me matchup. Indiana and New York, those are tough, grinded out matchups. So maybe I'm still just sleeping on Draymond. Maybe I got to respect him a little bit more. And his minutes are there. I mean, these are looking like old school Draymond stat lines right down to the minute. So I don't know, Chad. You guys let me know your warm and fuzzies or nah with Draymond. If you got that feeling in your bad knee with the Stormer brewing, man, let me know. Sean says, I played Tucker against the Raptors. I can't go back to him. Yeah, I'm not there. Just dropped the kids off, ready to make money. I watch this dude first every day. Then I appreciate that. What's up, King Carter? Anthony Edwards or Harrison Barnes? Harrison Barnes, but if you're trying to get a little bit trickier just for like leverage or tournament leverage, I think Edwards would be lower owned of those two. And without Malik Beasley, there's still a shot that in a vacuum, Edwards is a strong play and sometimes a stronger play than Barnes, but that's completely an ownership play for big field tournaments. I think pre-flop, I got to put the safety, the floor ceiling ratio on Harrison Barnes. PJ Tucker, Tony Snell, pick one, terrible. Man, I don't know how many of you guys are OGs. You don't remember Jared Bayless? He was for a while he was shooting guard for I think the Sixers. Bro, my man, it was rough out there. Who's your top fade of the slate so far? I don't know yet. It might. I think it's gonna have to be. If we're all enamored, like if we all love this Kings and Hornets game, I think we're gonna have to give up a Curry or a LeBron or one of these guys. And then maybe if Jaylen Brown was out, you'd think about staying away from Jason Tatum. But I also think you could take advantage of having a goldfish memory with Tatum because Tatum just let the world down without Jaylen Brown or without Kemba, one or the other. And maybe this is a get-right bounce-back spot. Since I name drop, I'll make sure to do the same in their chat. No, I don't like to shake things up. Like a couple weeks ago, I was watching one of the Awesemo night streams. Like I just want to watch or play one of the late slates, but I don't like to talk in other people's chats because I don't want to take attention away. Like even though I only have 80 viewers, like I don't want people to stop and like I find it disrespectful. So you don't need a name drop. I like everyone at Awesemo. Josh and Alex are really really sharp. Rick, sub G back. What's up, Rick? Can you do a stat muse for Wiggins versus LeBron just for fun's sake? He seems to play harder there. Sure, just for fun. Just for fun. Let me stop the chat, man. Y'all got the chat going. Wiggins, DKP by game log versus LeBron James. Let's go last 10 games. <sighs> 26, 42, 25, 40, 20. Looks like my my blood pressure EKG. That doesn't make sense. Zeller playing today. He's doubtful. Him and Gordon Hayward doubtful. Can you call me dad? Yeah, if I don't have to pay you any money. Fade Hield at 25% on. Definitely one of the Kings, right? And Buddy Hield was the odd man out last time with Tyrese Halliburton down. It was like Fox, Barnes, Bagley, Rashawn Holmes. Definitely think one of the shooters from the Kings could be somebody you can stay away from. Bayless and Sessions. Oh, Ramon Sessions. Oh, man. Definitely fade Buddy. Gun Monk is the sneaky play. I'm with that. If Butler misses, I like Dragic and Nunn together. Did something come out while I was talking? Did Butler something about? Oh yeah, I guess he is questionable. Yeah, if he misses, that could create a big opportunity for Nunn, and maybe Tyler Hero finally plays. Also, a big opportunity for Adebayo. Monk is on fire as of late. Yeah, I like Malik Monk. Gun, how'd your Yanks do today? MLB's almost back. When I left, they were down by 1. And Brantley and Mike Cockman had just went back to back. But we don't look at the scoreboard in spring training. I think only like Adam Warren has a shot out of all the pitchers today. Maybe only Adam Warren might even make the team on opening day. I'm overweight on Monk. He shoots a lot. Yeah, I like Malik Monk. Tatum been burning me lately. Same. Let's move on to the next team here. Miami Heat hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Project starting five for the Hawks. Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, Tony Snell, John Collins, Clint Capella, taking on Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G, buckets. Kelly Olynyk, Bam Adebayo, 223.5 total, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler questionable, so I see you guys talking about that. Let's get caught up on that situation. Let me go check out the injury report on the Miami Heat. Jimmy is dealing with some right knee inflammation. He was not listed on Saturday's injury report, so it's a bit concerning. Should he have to sit out Sunday's game? Goran Dragic, Adebayo stands to be the players most impacted. All right, so almost kind of a midday questionable, right? He wasn't on the list last night, so that is sometimes a sway closer to out than in, if we got to guess. But Jimmy has been kind of an Iron Man, so I don't know. But just to do our due diligence here, do a little bit of homework, let's take Jimmy Butler off the court. Bam Adebayo is probable, so I guess we'll put Adebayo on to kind of paint that picture a little bit. We have Tyler Hero questionable as well. He's missed a long stretch of games with a right hip contusion. He's missed 3 games with the injury. It's going to be the second time he's being listed as questionable, which means he's trending in the right direction. And yeah, so just putting Adebayo on, Butler off. This is not really allowing us, or not, I don't want to say allowing us, but due to minute sample size, I don't want to get overly creative with putting Hero, Dragic, or Nunn on. But just leaving Adebayo on, taking off Butler. Adebayo sustains a 27% usage rate in almost 560 minutes. He's over a point per minute, and his assist rate goes to 32%. So what I would say is maybe we go peek in on our buddies at PrizePicks and see if they have a soft Adebayo assist prop, or if they even have one, because I've noticed that they're a little bit slower to the gun when it comes to adjusting the lines when news comes out. So we're going to control F Adebayo. He's at 4.5 assists. So let's run another query. Bam Adebayo, DKP by game log. Log without Jimmy Butler last 10 games. Let's run another query. And first of all, I want to see how often he eclipses 4.5 assists. 7, 6, 5, 9. So he's done it in all of his last 4 games. Then there's a 4 that's at Toronto, 7, 5, 6. So he's done it in 8 of his last 10 games for the assist prop. And the percentages agree with that, a 30+% assist rate. So I would say if you guys do play on PrizePicks, maybe keep that penciled down on your desk. And if you see that Jimmy Butler gets rolled out, run over the PrizePicks because they're slow to react. And maybe you want to bet the over 4.5 as one of your card numbers. If you guys are not on PrizePicks and you want to try it out, it is a player prop parlay style website that allows you to put together 2 to 5 picks via every sport, NBA, NASCAR, whatever's going that day, esports, and allows you to get up to like 10x your return. They have a flex option, which allows you kind of like round robin or to miss a couple picks and still get paid. And then they have that power option, which allows you to kind of GPP it and get up to 10x. If you've never played on PrizePicks, if you use code GUNDECKER when you sign up, they will match your initial deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. So $10 becomes 20, and then you get the gist. And it's instant. It's not slow drip. You don't have to play through it to get $1 for every $50 you play. We'll give you $1 up to they give it to you right away. We talked about it's a cool way to diversify your daily DFS spend and continue to reward your daily research, where you can take advantage of guys and spots that make a lot of sense, but maybe salary that day or the way your lineups are building, you just can't get to Adebayo today because he's 9K and you need that 50. well, you can still take advantage of some of the other spots, like picking on their player props. So go check that out, PrizePicks.com, code GUNDECKER when you sign up, and have some fun. Hopefully you see some big shots there. Let's get back to the spreadsheet here. Chat, what are you guys doing with this one? I think once we move past the fact that Jimmy Butler may or may not play, it's still an above-average spot for the Heat in terms of matchups. If we go look at that team metric chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, the Atlanta Hawks boast a bottom 10 team in terms of defensive efficiency, and we've seen some numbers be put on them, even though their pace is under 100, much like the Heat. So I still think it is a spot to put up some real points. I also think that if Jimmy Butler were to be out for this one, Trae Young could continue being a guy that just goes out there and gives you 50-plus fantasy points. And his game log, if you can pluck away some stankers, his game log is not that different in terms of upside than a little bit more expensive Russell Westbrook. So I don't mind looking at Trae Young. I do think the overall pace of this game, the scoring of this game is going to be a little bit lackluster, but Trae Young's going to have his hand in everything. And when he succeeds, the Hawks succeed and vice versa. I'm probably down on Capella and John Collins. Gallinari, chipping a chair him. If he gets to 30, he gets to 30. But no one else is really giving me the warm and fuzzies. And then the Heat become a lot of if this, then that, drawstring, homicide investigator bulletin board, right? If Butler's out and Tyler Hero's out, and then we connect Nunn to Dragic to Adebayo, there's a lot of mixing and matching to be done. If Hero's out and Butler's out, you might see some extremely deep minutes on Nunn. You might see a deeper allotment of minutes for Goran Dragic, who has been pretty efficient when called upon in that type of situation. And you might see a guy like Duncan Robinson have to pick up some slack and sink a couple more shots here and there. But we don't bank on him to do much more than scoring. Anyone else here that's kind of sneaky here? Olynyk every now and then will fall through with a 25-30 fantasy point game, but it's hard to be in love with the Heat. Let's see what you guys got on this one in the chat. Mark says the biggest injury-prone player, D'Angelo Russell's not a fan. He's always been hurt. Should retire at 24. Ouch. 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 Wolves gave up Wiggins in first-round pick. Top 3 protected. Thank God for trash Russell. Man, the Wolves are just in a corner, right? Their last 10 years of drafting and trading has just been. I mean, I agree. I love Cat, but past that, we've seen some yikes in retrospect stuff. And even when they went out there and got Thibodeau, wasn't quite what you wanted. I'm debating on Barrett or Bay. Bay got a better shot and plays D, but Barrett always lets me down. I feel like I can put Bay in, he'll go hamburger. All right, Ben snapping. I don't think that's a crazy 1v1. I think they have similar range of outcomes and the minute projection. You might give a little bit more minutes to RJ Barrett, but yeah, the ranges of outcomes are kind of similar. Bismack Knight. Is it a Bismack Knight? Is he in the starting lineup? I feel like this is a matchup that can go a little bit bigger. I think Warriors kind of dictated that starting lineup, right? The opportunity to shoot a bunch, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game here. You guys know what to do with that one. You wait for the news and adjust. Phoenix Suns at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Project starting 5 for the Suns. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, McCall Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton taking on Ricky Rubio. Anthony crossing over with Anthony Edwards. I got to get used to his bit. Josh Okogie, Jared Vanderbilt, Karl Anthony Towns, the Big Cat, Ernie Ladd. We got 225 total. And a 10.5 point spread in favor of the road team, Phoenix Suns. T-Wolves, night 2 of back-to-back. I think they lost an hour in travel, or they gained an hour, really, going from D.C. to Minnesota. So I'm not too concerned about that, but is that a game? I feel like the T-Wolves been playing a lot lately. Like the new coach already has this is 4th game, 27, 24, 23rd. No, all right. So they had a couple days off. So it is night 2 of a back-to-back. Still coasting under new management. Phoenix Suns, one of the stronger defenses in the league, a really, really solid offensive rating. They should be able to do anything they want against this T-Wolves defense. And I did discuss the validity of Chris Paul last slate. And if you're just paying attention, Chris Paul is putting together a really, really solid string of fantasy point games in games that stay competitive. So 35, 38 minutes against the Bulls, against the Hornets, games that were competitive within 15 points at the middle of the fourth quarter. Chris Paul's putting up 50 bombs. If the game gets lopsided, like the 30-point blowouts in Portland or hosting Portland and at Memphis, then the minutes aren't quite there, and Paul can't do what you want him to do. But I think Paul's one of those names you pencil down as perhaps elite pivots to trendier guys at this price range, 7.8K. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on like a De'Aaron Fox or LaMelo Ball, guys like that. And Chris Paul comes in a little bit cheaper. So if you think there's a chip in a chair for T-Wolves to keep this game within 15, I think Chris Paul has a case to be a super solid play for fantasy. The T-Wolves are just bad at defending really every position, but if you go check out that team DVP chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet and go find Minnesota. Minnesota has been really bad against the front court centers and power forwards. So maybe DeAndre Ayton can have another solid game, 40-plus fantasy points. He's kind of a name that just doesn't get any traction this season because his end result isn't great, more 30s than 40s. But this is another really, really strong spot for him, and it should be at least encouraging to see that he took 17 shot attempts that last game. So I don't mind looking his way in a on paper solid matchup. But again, I think anyone we're clicking with in this game on both sides, but especially on the Sun side, we're questioning the propensity of this game getting lopsided, becoming a blowout. And then we're worried about, a low-hanging ceiling on value. Jay Crowder, 27 minutes on him at under 5K, 4.6, 4.5. I think that has a shot for upside as well. Dario Saric missed last game. If he misses again, maybe a little bit safer shot of minutes for that front court as well. And maybe Frank Kaminsky really stunned some people at under 4K. On the T-Wolves side, we can stay away from Cat, right? We liked, obviously, Cat last night made a ton of sense. Dropped 50, and they still got lopsided back-to-back here. I think this 10K price point, if I'm investing, 10-plus K, if there's a comma in a player's price point today, for me, I kind of want it to be LeBron or Curry. And then I guess I would land on Westbrook before Cat. I don't know. It's definitely you could say that if this game stays close, Cat's a catalyst, right? He's probably going to have 25 to 35 real points. But man, I probably don't invest in it. Anthony Edwards, I think you chip and share him, 6'2", 6'8". He's extremely volatile tournament play. Malik Beasley's going to be out for 12 games, I believe, with the suspension. So without Beasley, without D'Angelo Russell, I think it's fair to put Anthony Edwards 1 or 2 in shot attempts per game, and that's enough to think that he's at least worth a click here and there, because he does get some peripherals in addition to chucking upwards of 20 shots, but he's coming off a stretch of really positive games in terms of how he can get there for you. Wizards, Bulls, and Milwaukee, those got to be like 3 of the top 5 teams in pace, right? Let's go check out the pace ratings. Wizards, Milwaukee, and Chicago. So that's 3 of the top 4 teams in pace. So super plus spot for him to get a couple extra possessions and a couple extra peripherals. This is going to be a big step backwards, I believe, in that regard. But he's still going to chuck. He's going to chuck at will. So I think he has a case to hit some deeper filled lineups, but it wouldn't be anything that's short entry for me. Definitely not in cash. Otherwise, the T-Wolves are becoming a lot like the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Everyone's just Like, there's two guys getting 30 minutes. Everyone else is probably just scattered, and you're spraying and praying a bunch of 15 to 22-minute guys. Vanderbilt was a trendy play last night. Didn't get a lot of deep minutes. We were looking at the game before where he did get deep minutes. I do believe that was a result of cat foul trouble in overtime. But it's also an ironing out process for this interim T-Wolves coach, and just kind of see what he's going to do minute-wise and how he'll adjust. So I don't think I invest too much in the T-Wolves today. I probably don't have any cat when it's all said and done. And then I might have some Edwards at 6.2 on FanDuel. And that would just be like maybe cap him at 8% and like 100 lineups. And if he falls, he falls, right? Fade ball and just play Rozier. What you think? I don't know if I'm fading LaMelo. I don't think it's a crazy approach, though. If you're just talking specifically like game theory, right? I think those sentences are fine. I'm not going to – I love those sentences because game theory is what I think wins NBA DFS these days. Game theory and adjusting to news after lock. We all have really lit projections, and we know what should happen, but it's being able to have a numbness to risk tolerance and playing plays that don't happen as common in simulation. So if you're thinking there's a range of outcomes where ball is average and Terry Rozier pops off, I definitely think that'll be the path of least traffic. So not a crazy mindset to bring into a 100K entry tournament, right? Anchor says FanDuel is easier to play ball. DK not so much, but minute shots will be there for ball to reach 50 plus. Yep. Sterling Brown with FanDuel, good for value play. Yeah, I think Sterling Brown or David Nwaba is fun off the bench there for Houston. Probably not both, but I think one or the other I could see having a solid game. How about Smith versus D Rose, the recent trade revenge? Yeah, I think Dennis Smith. I think that means something to Dennis Smith. We'll see if Dwayne Casey gives him minutes, right? Any interest in Noel on FanDuel? Had 30 fantasy points yesterday. Let's put some context to that. I didn't pay too much attention to Noel, so what I really want to do is see if he got blowout run. One yesterday was a really, really solid matchup. And even if he got blowout run, that's not to say we can't play him because he might get blowout run today. But I just kind of see the context to his minutes. So he played, looks like, 8 minutes in the first half, and then he really closed out the fourth quarter. He played, looks like, the final 16 minutes. And a lot of that was there's a little stretch there with Cat and with Anthony Edwards. So, yeah, maybe you scatter him in the player pool, but I don't think we can isolate one game sample sizes minutes wise for the T-Wolves because the Wizards play a little bit smaller than the Suns, and maybe Noel's success came at Vanderbilt's unsuccess. So, see, Vanderbilt didn't touch the court that final 16 minutes, and then the game prior, Vanderbilt had closed the game. So, I don't know if that was a lineup thing. If we look at what the lineup was for the Wizards, they had Matthews, they had Alex Len on the court, Torrey Brown. Looks like they did have a small ball unit. So, what would be the fourth quarter unit for the Suns? Would it be, if it's competitive, it would be probably starters, right? You probably wouldn't get stunned by like a Kaminsky fourth quarter run. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too confident in those Noel minutes, but I don't think you're like crazy for looking at them. Winslow's cheap. Putting Winslow in some of my lineups. Yep. Love Noel. Back-to-back. Maybe sees more run if they down. I definitely think, like, I hate to play players for a blowout, but I think it's not crazy to play some T-Wolves on a back-to-back and, try and get some blowout run from some guards and wings. Definitely should be a lopsided game pre-flop, but so should the Cavs and Sixers. Anyway, we got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause. I want to ask you guys, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up on this video. If you're not subscribed, you enjoy the content, we do streams. I've done a stream every day for like 2 weeks now. So we're on a nice little stretch. Ever since that ice storm left Texas, we've been vibing. So if you guys want just to hang out during the day. We usually do them at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. We will have more and more streams going into the All-Star break. We'll have baseball content. Baseball is my baby, but it'll be a lot less clicks on those videos. But hit that thumbs up, show a little bit of love. If you guys want to hang out with me after the party, it's the after party. And after the party, it's the Discord lobby, the RunDFS.com premium Discord, man. We've got a lot of really beautiful minds in here, a lot of big winners, too. You don't have to just be a big winner, but we have big winners. A little bragging on the crew here. Always be placing won the DraftKings NFL Millionaire Maker early December. Adeen's in here too, right? Adeen sipped 100K on the back of Damian Lillard. Jake has won the 100K the final day of the regular season last season. And 2 nights ago, where's he at? The homie Russell Miller, the novelist. He's down here. He's offline right now. He won 100K 2 days ago. So we got some sharp cats in here that know what they're doing. But we also have guys that balling on a budget, right? Quarter arcade grinders, single entry mines, stuff like that. A little something for everybody. Today they're playing NASCAR. Smeezy, our crew chief, hooking it up for the NASCAR coverage. And then, of course, I will have coverage before lock, the 2 hours before lock for NBA. We'll have the pre-lock voice chat. You guys grab a mic, join the conversation, or just listen in. And then, of course, MLB opening day is just about a month away now. And I'm super proud of the baseball content, the baseball spreadsheet. We'll have daily pre-lock voice chats for that. So if you guys are looking for a way to get access to the Discord, access to these spreadsheets, and access to my player pool, you kind of want to see where I end up, go to rundfs.com, make yourself an account. We did launch the All-Star to All-Star break pass 2 days ago. You guys get locked in until the baseball All-Star break in July. Go check that out. Make an account. Click VIP passes, and then click the onboarding thread in the VIP forums. I feel like there's something I'm missing. Is there something I'm missing? I don't know. All the plugs out the way. You guys get it. Come hang out with me. Good way to support the stream, sports site. We'll get into the main event. We'll get caught up on chat here. See if you guys got anything. Edwards was a bust until his last 4 minutes. We got 8 points, 2 rebounds. Yeah, that's Edwards basketball. I'll tell you that. Suns, I agree. Otherwise, for DFS, not good to predict blowouts. Normally, yeah. I feel like the blowouts have subsided a little bit up until remember the first couple weeks of the season where it was just every game was a blowout. Like, it was just ugly. I feel like it's gotten away from that a little bit. But there was a while where I was just like, man, maybe we just have to predict blowouts and go from there. Yo, Paul with the super dono. Appreciate that, Paul. Where's the let's go home? Oh, there it is. Let's go home. Appreciate that, Paul. That's love. I haven't been on in 3 days. Can we start back on Thursday? Thank you. Can we start back? All right, let's go back to Thursday. I appreciate that, man. No days off for you, Gun. I'm okay with. We've looked at the NBA slates from now until the All-Star break. It's all viable big slates, right? There's no throwaway 3-game Thursday slates. It's all sizable slates. So I'm gonna try and grind it out as long as you guys are showing love. I'm gonna be out there grinding. We'll have that week off for the All-Star break, recharge, watch some spring training, stuff like that. What up, Young C? Are you taking Top Shot for I am taking Top Shots for VIP subscriptions, actually. If you want to work something out, twitter.com/Gundacker. Don't mind that. Guys, we have another game. I'm not done. Don't leave unless somebody else is on the air and you want to go check them out. I'm not done. Fade Ball, Play Monk, Let's Go Home is Dirk. Let's Go Home was the dunk. That was a dunk contest. I think that was Kenny Smith on the call. It's like, let's go home. It's over. Charlotte Hornets at the Sacramento Kings. Your main event tonight. Project starting 5 for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Cody Martin, Miles Bridges, and PJ Washington are projected lineup up against the Kings projected lineup. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, Rashawn Holmes. We got a 236.5 total. And there is a lot of news, impactful ins and outs for this one. We'll start with the Hornets side. The homie, friend of the show, Devontae Graham, out, and Cody Zeller and Gordon Hayward are both listed as doubtful. Zeller, of course, missed the last game. Gordon Hayward's listed as doubtful with a right hand contusion. He was originally considered to be probable for Sunday's game, for today's game, but it appears likely that he won't be able to play. And then Cody Zeller is dealing with a left hip contusion. He's listed as doubtful. On the Kings side, Jabari Parker and Hassan Whiteside both out, creating a higher floor of minutes for the front court. Bagley, Rashawn Holmes, and then Tyrese Halliburton, who was on Twitch last night opening packs, not going to be able to play in this one, and that's going to create more guard minutes for De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, more shot volume. Yes, there's going to be some minutes there for Corey Joseph. No, I'm not playing Corey Joseph. Not even if there's a fire. Corey Joseph, PJ Tucker. Could we just make, what is the most useless, pointless lineup we can make in DFS? It's probably Corey Joseph, PJ Tucker, Tony Snell is on the slate today. PJ Tucker, dude, I would crush it in low ball today. There are some bums out there. This game, I think, is the most attacked game on the slate from the field. It's just so easy to spray 37-minute guys of bad defense at each other, and I got no pushback. I think sub 7K for Terry Rozier is very, very viable in the absence of Hayward, in the absence of in the absence of Devontae. LaMelo Ball, 7.6K, seems borderline free squarey. On the Kings side, you're giving me 38 minutes of Fox. I think we discussed the merit in fading Buddy Hield. I do think he's consistently inconsistent. You look at that last game, he was the guy that let you down. But you got to kind of have a goldfish memory. So I don't think we full fade Hill here, boys. We still got to get 37 minutes of somebody against the Charlotte Hornets. And if we look at what Buddy Hield does, he's efficiently inefficient, right? He'll chuck some threes, 9, 7, 6, 10. That's important because the Charlotte Hornets do give up a lot of points via the three ball. If we go to the 3 points per game allowed, or points via the three ball allowed, the Hornets give up the third most points in the league via the three ball. So there's still a shot, a chip in a chair, right, for Buddy Hield to come out here and thrive. De'Aaron Fox likely a tier 1. Harrison Barnes probably will definitely be a tier 1 for me, and those are guys I just think have too many minutes, too high of a floor, and a floor ceiling range, and probably too high of ownership for me to be on the wrong side of that train, right? Harrison Barnes could be one of the top 5 owned players tonight. What a world we live in, but I don't disagree with it. On the Hornet side, Rozier Ball, but P.J. Washington, somebody that we saw earlier this season without Cody Zeller. He would start alongside Bismack Biyombo, and then spell Biyombo with backup center minutes. I do want to say that I think there's a range of outcomes where Biyombo starts this game. I think PJ being the small ball 5 against the Warriors was indicative of how a lot of teams will approach the Warriors if they feel like they have to kind of match. I think the Kings front court's a little bit bigger. And their pace a little bit more neutral. So I think there's still a shot at Biyombo starting this game. So kind of look out for that. I don't necessarily think it matters. I think no matter what, PJ Washington's going to get minutes at the 5. But kind of don't be stunned. Like when that lineup comes out and you see Biyombo starting, like don't throw everything you have in the air, right? If you want to play Miles Bridges, play Miles Bridges. You can also see Miles Bridges at the 3, PJ at the 4, and Biyombo at the 5, and Martin off the bench. So, nonetheless, the Hornets are really short-staffed overall. I think Malik Monk is a super solid shot. Jalen McDaniels is a name you probably don't even are familiar with, but just because of the matchup, the viability is there to play him. Sacramento Kings are very bad, so bad that they just let a bottom 5 team in offensive efficiency, the New York Knicks, drop 140 fantasy real points on them. So Hornets are full stackable, Kings are full stackable, but maybe we don't 4v4, right? Maybe 3v3s. If I had to pick a 3v3, it'd be Ball, Rozier, PJ versus Fox, Barnes, and maybe Holmes. Maybe Holmes. Not married, right? Let's see what you guys got. I'd rather play Kemba than Hield. Maybe we keep our ear to the ground on Hield's ownership, right? Maybe everyone just doesn't like playing Buddy Hield, right? But it's really just a shot efficiency problem. And what I mean by that, like, how many of these Hield games are good games for fantasy if he's hitting more shots? Right, 4 for 14. I think the shot volume from the games prior, Knicks are a tougher defense. We're going to give him 8 to 10 more minutes without Halliburton. Nets, he should have did better against the Nets, but like he's just really shooting poorly. So I think he's a couple shots away from being a solid play. 6'1", though, like if you faded Buddy Hield at 6'1", I think he'd have to probably drop 40 at that price range for you to feel like you got a bad deal. And if you really want to maybe use some game theory or leverage ownership, if we do project him to high, we just look for the pivots at the price point. So Hield is $6K on the dot, right? 6'1" on the dot. So we go to that 6'1" and let's plus minus 500 DK dollars. Kevin Huerter does play deep minutes. I think Huerter is Huerter's kind of I don't want to say he's an elite pivot, but if we're going to justify Buddy Hield because the Hornets give up a top 3 amount of points via the 3-ball, guess who gives up more? The Miami Heat give up the second most points in the league via the 3-ball. So Huerter could be a cheaper Hield. Kendrick Nunn could just play 40 minutes if Butler gets rolled out and one of Dragic or Heroes out. Derrick Rose is, I think, just straight up higher owned than Buddy Hield. And then Dennis Schroeder, another spot, fast-paced matchup without Anthony Davis. Probably gets 32 minutes on the nose, could be a point per minute. So I don't know. I don't know if I feel like Hield's going to be at a ridiculous ownership. Even Eric Gordon for $100 cheaper. We've seen him thrive without Oladipo this season, and I think he'll have 15 to 18 shot attempts if that game stays neutral. So I don't know if Hield's even gonna make. I don't even know if Hield's gonna be chalk. Looking at all these shooting guard options, it's not like a shallow position. So maybe Hield is a contrarian way to get to this game. I don't know. I'm playing Monk even if Hayward plays. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think Hayward's going to play, though. But Fox, Holmes I like more. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tier 1 De'Aaron Fox, tier 1 LaMelo Ball. Holmes, Bagley, I think, could just have median ranges of outcomes where they're okay value, okay for their price point, 30 fantasy points. Maybe one of them does get a crazy game, like a 40 fantasy point game, but they still got Bielisa to kind of play with. I don't know. I'm there on both those guys, but I could just see average games there too as well. And that's it. There's really not a Hornet I wouldn't play in. There's not a King I wouldn't play in the starting lineup. And if I had to dig into the depth chart, all of the Hornets were in play, and unless Luke Walton said, yeah, I'm giving Bielisa some run tonight, I'm not playing Corey Joseph, and I'm not going to play Guy, Bielisa, Jeffries, or Justin James. We're not. So that's it, man. That is our slate tonight. A lot of people starting from the last game and working your way down. I got no quarrels, no problems with that one. And then, yeah, G Yali. What's up, G? Are you bumping Monk if Hayward misses? Yes. Hayward's officially doubtful, boys, so I'm just going to assume Hayward's out. And if Hayward did end up playing, I don't think we have that news in time for logical lineups to be made. So I'm just assuming he's out based on the information we have now, and doubtful is a pretty strong indication. So, yeah, I'm better than Kojo. I would body Kojo. On FanDuel, we got Hield projected at 25%. So 1 in 4 lineups would have Hield. I don't think that's crazy. I feel like I could match the field on that and still have the right combos around it. Just from a FanDuel perspective. Rozier, probably 1. Hero if Butler was out. Herder. We talk about Herder, Gordon. Yeah, I guess 25%. Just looking at these names, I could see myself being at 25 to 35, maybe even 40. Like shooting guard is very shallow on FanDuel, and Rose is a point guard, so I think 25 is fair. I don't think I feel pressured to make a above the field, below the field decision at 25% just based on these names. If we thought that Rose might get a little bit less run on a back-to-back because of playing 37 minutes last night, maybe Emmanuel quickly, but 5.5, I don't feel like I'm getting a great deal. Willie says PJ Washington or Kuzma on FanDuel. Probably PJ for me. I think PJ's minutes are going to be safe as they come. I think I was actually surprised at how little minutes he got last game. He only played like 28 with Cody Zeller out in a small ball lineup. But I would expect that to be closer to 32, 35 with how short they are. And I think PJ is just going to give us a more solid floor because his rebound numbers will go up here with him playing a little bit more 5. And I think he'll probably be I want to say third on shot attempts, but I think Malik Monk could slide into being third in shot attempts. So I still think double-digit shot attempts is there. So probably PJ over Kuzma, but I could see lineups in my CSV having both. Markey getting out of here. Potential value in Toppin if he starts for Gibson. Obi Toppin starts for Gibson wasn't going to start, right? So he might get those minutes, though. I think Kevin Knox, I had him in the mix as well, so look out for him. I got in this too late going to restart the show. All right, great. Filibuster, I appreciate you stopping by. Toppin's going to see more run with no Gibson. I mean, what did Obi Toppin get last night? Because Gibson only got 4 minutes. And Toppin got 6 minutes. They just gave all the minutes to Randall and Noel. So I don't know if Thibodeau's going that route. I feel like we should. I don't even think we should be here. I shouldn't be here right now. It's favorite center on FanDuel is Valanciunas. No, favorite center of FanDuel for me right now is probably going to be either Rashawn Holmes. I love the idea of Montrezl Harrell in a fast-paced matchup. I love it. I love it. I just love his potential upside. I do think we're getting a ceiling in minutes. But if he got 22 to 28 minutes in this matchup, I think he could be a point per minute greater. And just out of curiosity, I'm trying to look in his game log, see how many fast-paced teams. So just off the top of my head, fast-paced teams. So in 29 minutes against the Bulls, 30-plus fantasy points. 28 minutes against the Warriors, 34 fantasy points. The Bucks, fast-paced team, 26-24, so almost a point per minute. Sucked against the Bulls that next game. But I think AD might have been active that game anyway. And then Washington a couple games back, 26 real points in 23 minutes. And that game went to overtime, and he didn't play the overtime. They went back to Marc Gasol. So I love the upside in Montrezl Harrell, and I do think in deep field tournaments, there's ranges of outcomes where he just straight up outscores Rashawn Holmes, and those extra couple points could be worth $100K at the end of the night. I still love Rashawn Holmes, but in deep field tournaments, I think right there's a same price point pivot. And then I like the thought of going back to Biyombo. Biyombo was kind of aggressively high-owned last slate and only got 12 minutes, but I can accredit that to just being a small ball game. I think the Kings are a little bit bigger than the Warriors lineup, and if he gets 20 to 25 minutes with how short they are, if a PJ or a Bridges get in foul trouble, or anybody gets in foul trouble and they got to move Bridges to 3 or something like that, I think the opportunity for more minutes is there for Biyombo, and he stayed at min price. So I still think he could be a really good stocking stuffer. He's not going to be an offensive juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination. However, the Kings, I believe, give up the most points in the paint in the league. I want to say. Hold on. Don't quote me on that one. Sacramento gives up the most points in the paint in the league. So Biyombo is kind of a at-the-rim guy. Could take advantage of that. Maybe get a sneaky 10-10 or a 10, sneaky double-double. And then blocks allowed. Maybe a couple blocks in there. So I think Biombo is right back in the mix for me, right? If he started last game and was starting this game, he'd be one of the highest owned players on the slate at that price. Interesting with Knox, yeah. Ankle. Quan, I'm looking at chat. I don't see anything else in chat from you other than ankle. What does that mean, bro? Maybe it's much further up. I don't know. Maybe I said something wrong. I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow, back at it, Monday afternoon. Get a little bit more spring training to watch in the early days. Let's see how many games are on the docket. It's going to be, 6 games maybe? Tomorrow is 2, 4, 6, 7 games. Was there a Raptors game tomorrow? No. So 7 games starting at 6 p.m. Central, so 7 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to shoot again for 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. So if you guys want to be part of that, should be around. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that red subscribe button, notification bells if you want to be notified when we go live. If you want to hang out in the Discord, we'll be there after the stream. And if you guys want to upgrade to VIP via Top Shot highlight moments, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker Sports, man. That's it. Anything else, Chad? I think that's it, man. I appreciate you guys as always, making part of my day part of your day. I truly, humbly appreciate that. We might get joined by Raj tomorrow. So you guys that are new, sometimes I have hot take Skip Bayless DFS guy to make me look even smarter. But that's it, man. I hope you guys crushed it tonight. Show me them screenshots later. I love you. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.